My name is Chandra Capel. I am Director of Educational Partnerships here at RCC. Underneath my umbrella, all high school programs. I work with the early college that we have here on campus, the new CTE high school that you may have heard about that's going to be coming, and students like you who attend other high schools but like to come over and do college classes. So all of that is underneath my umbrella. So thank you for coming out today. So the way it's going to work today, we're going to spend a little time together this afternoon, just going over a few things that I want to talk about with parents and students together. Then we're going to have the students leave, and they're going to go with the career coaches, and they're going to get them set up on their technology. While they're getting set up on all of that and getting emails set up and learning a little bit about Moodle, then the parents will stay with me, and then we'll do a little Q&A and go over a few things and answer whatever questions that you may have. When they finish with their part, they'll come back in, and then at that point, those of you who have not paid your fee, if you want to pay your fee, we're going to walk you over to where that is done. And then after the fee is paid, then we'll walk you over to Wickham so you can get your student ID. And we'll be done. Okay? All right. Okay, so just going to start off a little bit, talking a little bit about Career and College Promise. You're hanging there with me today? I'm going to let you talk. Okay, good. All right, Career and College Promise. Career and College Promise is the state of North Carolina's dual enrollment program. It is a tuition-free program. May not mean a lot to you students, but to parents, that's a good thing. You do not pay for the cost of the actual class. It is not totally free, but it is tuition free. Now, there are fees that are associated with classes each semester you take them. So when you receive your information in the mail, you received a schedule, and it was some information highlighted on there, and there was also a little fee that was highlighted. That's going to be your expense. Right now, just because of some funding that we have available, everybody, Rockingham County school students and homeschool private school students, you all have books provided for you free of charge. So right now, the only expense is going to be the fees, but it's payable each semester. The credits that you earn through this program, we basically have two areas. We have one area that's college transfer. So those students that signed up to take courses like psychology, sociology, math, Spanish, those are college transfer courses. Any student that makes a C or better in those courses, the credits for those courses will transfer to any of our UNC system schools, and we have them listed up here, okay? And they also will transfer to our community colleges. So whatever you take here, you can continue on here at RCC upon graduation, or if you want to attend one of our other community colleges, you may do so as well. So you get a C or better. That's a good thing. They also transfer to any of these independent colleges or universities. And we have, should be like 30 of those up there. C or better, you get the credit. You don't have to retake that class once you're at the university. So to try to help put that in perspective, how important that is, when your first 2 years of college, Grace can tell you, she's a lot younger than me, she's done it more recent than me, your first 2 years of college, you're doing more gen eds, more math, more English, more science. That's about 60 hours worth of classes, 60 hours credit that you're trying to get first couple of years. Then you get to the meat of your major. The courses that you take through the program are called college transfer, and that's helping to get some of those out of the way. So if you do those here, that's one less class you have to do when you get to the university, which saves you time and it saves mom and dad money. So that's just to put it in perspective, okay? The other type of courses that students take are career and technical education courses. We call them CTE. So those would be courses like welding, HVAC. We have CTE pathways in business, agribusiness, early childhood. We have a lot of them. Anybody enrolled in any of those courses, just by a show of hands? Anybody? Good, okay. Those courses, some of the courses in there would be transferable. It just depends on the pathway, but not all of them would be transferable. But what you do get, if you finish the entire pathway, you will graduate with a certificate and entry-level job skills. So that is how that one differs, okay? Both of them are college tuition free, and we provide your books for either one, okay? Now, dual enrolled students, a couple of things about dual enrolled students. Like Grace, Nina, and I, you're gonna live in two worlds. If we live in two worlds, parents are gonna live in two worlds too. You'll have 1 foot in high school world, 1 foot in college world. So one of the things you have to learn very quickly is that you have to be accountable to 2 different ways of everything, 2 different calendars, 2 different sets of policies, 2 different sets of rules and regulations, because the RCC calendar and your high school calendar does not always line up. Okay? Probably the only thing we are the same on would be like Thanksgiving and Christmas, but everything else is not the same. So you'll have to learn both. The other thing about being dually enrolled is that you must remain dually enrolled. You have to be progressing in high school and making progress toward graduation, being good standing on the high school side to continue to take classes on the college side. I say that because we have had some instances in the past with students, especially students is like, I don't really care too much about doing the math and the English. I just want to weld. I just want to do HVAC. That's good. That's very good. But you still have to be making progress toward high school graduation, because if you don't, you'll be removed from the college classes. So you have to be in good standing. You have to be in good standing here at RCC as well, because if you're not, then you're held accountable to the college's academic progress policy. So just know that you can't just be the college student. You got to be in good standing on both sides. The third thing dual enrolled students need to be aware of is you do need to just learn the difference between how things work on the high school side, how things work on the college side. From scheduling to how you register for classes, how you withdraw from classes. One of the big things that we have sometimes confuses students is schedules, because Grace can tell you that at the high school, we start this process, we started what, in March for the fall? Been a long time ago. And we usually provide information to the high school councils about what a student has asked to take. Sometimes they'll go in when they're working on your schedule and just put it in there, because that's what you asked to take. And sometimes students think because I see it on my high school schedule, I'm in it. Well, if you've never received anything from us at RCC, you might not be in the class. So because it's on the high school schedule doesn't mean that you're in it. You have to have a schedule from high school, you have to have a schedule from the college. So you have to adjust to knowing that there's 2 of everything, okay? 2 of everything. And the fourth thing as a dual enrolled student you must know is that you must attend class and you must follow your course syllabus for that class. It's very important. One of the things with college classes is sometimes it's a little bit more freedom, especially if you're coming over to campus, because you don't have the principal behind you, you're not in the school building, but you still have to come to class. There's a lot of communication between the high schools and the coaches, the high schools and me. So they're going to know if you're not. So you still have to attend class, okay? We've already talked a little bit about books. We already talked about schedules. I do want to emphasize the importance of email, okay? So students, how many of you check your email? Tell the truth. All right? So, all right. They don't check it. They don't check it. Some of them do, some of them don't. But please, please, please develop a habit of checking your email regularly. As a dual enrolled student, how many emails do you think you're going to have? 2. You're going to have your high school email and you're going to have your college email. College faculty, they're going to correspond with you on your college email. So anything that deals with the college, announcements, anything like that, you're going to get emails about them, but they're going to go to your RCC email, not your high school email, all right? Your college faculty, that's pretty much how they're going to communicate with you. RCC email and Moodle, which you're going to learn about in a minute. High school, your high school stuff comes to high school email. Now, Grace, Nina, and I, because we live in both worlds, we'll work with you on both emails, and the coaches even have a high school email. But your college faculty, they're pretty much going to be doing the college email. So please get accustomed to checking your email. It's a whole lot of students, and that's really the only way that we can get things out, like mass communications. We can't sit down and call every single person and all of that. So just make sure that you're checking that. If you haven't been, start working on getting that habit. You're going to have to be more responsible than you have been, okay, because you're in dual classes. Okay. FERPA, this stands for Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act. What this is, it's a federal policy that pretty much states that students' records, when they enter into a college class, regardless of age, okay, their record is their record. So college faculty will be dealing with the student, not the parent, okay? There is some changes, some things per the state, some recent legislation that is now requiring us to have students to complete the consent form for you to have access. In the past, it's been optional, but it is now required that any minors complete the consent form so that parents can have that communication with faculty about grades and things of that nature. So students, when you go to your tech session, they are going to show you how to complete that form, okay? When we have our parent section, we can talk more about that at that time, okay? And that is all I needed to share in the dual session.
All right, so we're just going to move on. So you should still have, or you can just go ahead and open a tab with just the RCC website. And I don't know how many of you use like Microsoft, like Word, stuff like that, or do you usually use like Google Sheets, Google Docs kind of thing? One thing about like taking classes at RCC is that we use Microsoft, which is why we had you do all of that. And anytime that you do submit like an assignment, I know I like to use Google Docs, but for anything RCC related, it is recommended to just use like a Microsoft like document or like spreadsheet, whatever. And you actually have access to like the 365, like all of the, cloud and everything. So if you wanted to download that stuff, like if you click on My RCC, if you have like a computer that already has like Windows, like Microsoft on it, you should be fine. But if you want to go to My RCC and then click on Resources, it tells you how you can access all of that, because that is something that you'll be using anytime you submit anything for RCC instead of like a Google Doc. But that's there, and you can do that later. But yes, so the authenticator was pretty much just because it's just like an extra layer of like security. And then now you're able to log in like on your phone, on a computer, or whatever, and it should be, more smooth for you. So let me think. Now we're gonna do email. So on the RCC website, over in the top right corner, it says My RCC. We already clicked on that. But this is kind of like if you don't know where to go for something and you need to get to Moodle, need to get to email, it's usually under My RCC. Anything you need will probably be under My RCC. And then under students, obviously the first one is email. So we're just going to click on that one. So if you haven't clicked on My RCC yet, it's in the top right corner, like kind of next to the apply button. And then you'll just click on email under students. And it shouldn't make you log in again. Just a question. How often do you think you should be checking like your school email? Every day, every hour? Maybe not every hour, but at least every day. And you should be doing that with like your high school email too. I don't know that you guys do. But it is important to check your email because any communication from like one of us or like any RCC faculty, a lot of your instructors send out information literally just through email. And a lot of students will miss very important things or very important like notices because they don't ever open their RCC email after today. So definitely check that when classes start and just check it every day. like throughout the semester, just to make sure you're not missing anything, because it's only going to help you. But one important thing, obviously, is how to send an email. I think most of you know how to do that. But if you want to go ahead and click on New Mail in the little left corner, it's orange. This is just where you type your email. So if you wanted to like email your instructor, if you have a question about an assignment or a due date or need help with anything, want to know anything that you'll need to communicate with them with or about, just email them. That's the best way to get in contact with them. And it's really important that if you're discussing anything relating to like grades or any kind of like personal information, that you encrypt the email so nobody can see it, no hackers or anything, so that it's safe. So I would just say, like, pretty much anytime you're talking about any of those things, just go ahead and encrypt it. So we went ahead and clicked, New Mail, and then if you click on Options up here at the like top little like taskbar, there should be a gold lock kind of at the top right here, and if you click on it, it has an option to encrypt, and that just makes sure that whatever you're sending is safe. And it stays between you and whoever like you're sending it to. So that's just a good thing to do. Just go ahead and do it every time. But yes, so let me, do you guys send emails often to your teachers or anything? Or no? No? Okay. In the subject line, instructors get like a lot of emails. They have different sections of every single class they teach. They teach different classes every semester. So they need to know who you are when you're sending the email, because obviously, as you can tell, the email like address is kind of weird. Like they can't tell like what your first name is, like anything like that. So this is kind of the format that we recommend you use anytime you're sending an email to your instructor. It's just your last name and your first initial, and then the class that you're in. So this is just saying that this is telling whoever I'm emailing that I'm in their Business 110 class and I'm in Section 1. Because, they may have like a Section 2 that's Tuesday, Thursday, and this one's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it just kind of gives them an idea of who you are and kind of like what you might be asking relating to the class. So that's just a good format to use, because it'll, make it more likely that they'll open your email, they'll know what you're talking about. And then
Please do not type your whole email in the subject. Please don't do that.
Oh, yes.
Don't do that.
Yes. And then also, like, being professional in your email and not just typing like you're texting them. It's important to be professional. So I'm going to should I send this? Why not? Should I send it? Is it professional and beautiful? No. So it's just not professional. It's not professional, and I'm sure you guys, learned how to write like a letter. So if you just Google email format, it'll tell you how to do it so that it looks nice. Obviously, like an introduction, like good morning or their name, then, your body, whatever you're talking about. Hey, like I'm having trouble, completing this assignment. Can you help me? This is my question. And then like a thank you is the proper way to do it. So like,
So if you are using AI, why not use it right?
yeah, that's true. So obviously this is not like an actual sentence, but that's just like, good morning, tell them what your problem is, and then just say thank you. It's just the best way and professional way to go about it. And then also just like, the more information that you include in your email, the better it is. Because I do get a lot of emails, so the quicker that you can get the problem resolved is, obviously best. So like if you're doing like a test and Moodle messes up or anything, like screenshotting it, like if you have anything that like you need them to see, screenshotting it. So if you do Windows Shift S, like it'll do like this, and you can be like, oh, this is what I'm having a problem with, and then, paste it in there. So I'll just do Control V. That way they can see like kind of what you're talking about if you have something where it's like you want them to see. Otherwise you can just, obviously type all of that. I think that would probably be best, because I have so many students that have never opened their RCC email after today, like after orientation, and they've missed important emails about like assignments specific to that student, and then, you know, that only harms them. So I know like it seems annoying to have like school emails on your phone, but really it'll help you so that if something does come up, if an instructor needs to get in contact with you, you're more likely to see it. But yeah, so I think that's everything with like email. Pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. Does anybody have any questions about email? Okay. All right, so let's just go back to the RCC website. And now we're gonna look at self-service. So we're gonna go to My RCC again. That's where everything tends to be. And then under students, you'll see self-service. So go ahead and click on that. There's only like 2 things in here. This does a lot of stuff, but there's only like 2 things that you guys will need to do in here. And that's either make a payment for your fees that, you know, Ms. Capel was talking about, or to like view your schedule, which honestly you guys probably won't really need to do because we print them out and mail them to you, or like during the spring we just hand them to you at school. But if you ever did want to see like your schedule, it's in here. So just as a reminder, I clicked on self-service. And then if you click on student finance, obviously it's not there yet, but after the 1st of July, your fee will be on here for however much you owe for the semester. And you can click here, make a payment, and it'll do the same like if you were buying something on Amazon, like put your card number, all that. But that is only if you're like paying with a card. If you want to pay with cash, like for your fee, you do have to just go to the administration building and just pay there. Or you could always call RCC, and they can take your card number and everything over the phone. But this is a convenient way to do it, just online. And then if you ever did want to see like your schedule, if you click on, sorry, I just did that without saying anything, student planning, if you click on go to plan and schedule, there's a print button. And if you click that, it'll have it kind of neatly written out of like what your schedule is for the semester. But those are the only 2 things you might would need that for. So if you're like after the 1st of July, when you get the thing in the mail about like your payment, how much you owe, just remember My RCC, self-service, and then finance, and then just pay it, or one of the other 2 ways. And then probably the most important thing that you'll be using is Moodle. So Moodle is like Canvas that you guys use at your high school. It's very similar, so it's not like too much of a learning curve. But that's just that second option under students. And it should already have you logged in, but if not, in the top right it says login. Just click that, and you shouldn't have to retype anything. It should be fine. All right, so if you did have something in Moodle, it would look kind of like this. I'd say it's pretty similar to Canvas. It's got the, you know, class shells here. So if I click on like this class, this is pretty much what all of them kind of look like. There's always a welcome start here, and that's where you need to start. Because I think Ms. Capel did go over the REA with you guys, like the enrollment assignment. This is where you'll find that. So literally as soon as you open, welcome start here, and the enrollment assignment is right here. It gives you the instructions. It's a 5-minute video about academic integrity. You watch that, and then below it is a quiz. And then it also has the due date. Obviously this due date's not right, but it will have the due date. I would say just go ahead and do it like the first day of class, or at least like the first 3 days, because you don't want to miss that deadline and then get dropped out of the class. That would not be good. So, but it's really simple, and you do have to do it for every single class that you're in. So like if this is my psychology class, I need to come down here, do the quiz, and then if I also am in like sociology, I need to click on sociology and do the exact same thing. But just really make sure that you do that. I mean, we'll send out like reminders about the due date and to remind you to do the assignment. But if you just do it on the first day, that would probably be best. And then down on the left, There's course information, so that's kind of like what Ms. Capel was saying about like the syllabus. And then every instructor also has a course schedule on here. So any information that you might need, like contact information or like how much do tests count as, that's on here. So like if I click course syllabus, this is just like an example one. This is kind of what it should look like. So like it has like the class information. This is kind of where you can find like the section number. It also is on Moodle. Anything like that. If it is an in-person class, like the day and time that you have to be there, the contact information for your instructor, if they have office hours, anything like that. And then like a description of what the class is, what you're kind of going to be learning. Textbooks, you don't really need to pay attention to that because we're going to give them to you and we'll make sure they're the right ones. And then any testing information, requirements, like how much homework is counted as, exams, all that. And especially like their late work policy, because I think like she said, not every instructor is going to allow late work, and the ones that do, they may allow 1 day late, they may allow like a week late. It just varies on whatever class you have and what instructor you have. So whatever they have decided on is going to be in their syllabus. So just really important to look at that on the first day would be great, so that you know like what the expectation is like going in. Grading scale, attendance, especially if you're like in a seated class, attendance is really important. All of that is in here, so it's really important just to look at that. And then the course schedule, every class should have one of these as well, kind of like week 1, these are the assignments, week 2, all that, and then the due dates. Oh, where did it go? Okay, but yeah, so that page is pretty much the most important information that you need, like in terms of like logistics of the class. Tutoring services, we do have tutoring that is free for you. Even though you are a high school student, you're still an RCC student, so you get tutoring. And this is the link to that. So we have in-person tutoring just down the hall. And then we also have like an online, completely online, 24/7 online tutoring service as well that you can use. So, yeah. And definitely like, if you know that you're like gonna struggle, or if like it's early in the semester and you're already kind of struggling, just go ahead and ask, and get that tutoring instead of waiting until, a week before the exam, because at that point, it's a little late. But it is free, and you can use it, and you can do it online, so you don't have to come here and do it. So definitely, like, take advantage of that. Missed class, like if, yeah, that'll probably happen. So like if there's a snow day, like at the end of the semester, usually there's a missed class assignment that you have to do. So usually it'll also be in your email that your instructor is like, hey, make sure you do the missed class assignment. So that's also important, like to check your email. But that will be here. So you will have like assignments. It's not just like a totally free day. Textbook isn't really important to you because you'll just already have it. And then kind of down here is kind of where like the assignments will start coming in. So week 1, where you need to submit it is down there, and then it'll just keep kind of building like throughout the semester. But it's pretty similar to Canvas. It's pretty easy to use, but definitely like the first day, log in and do the REA, look at the syllabus, look at the schedule for each class that you're in, and then just kind of look around, because some of them might be a little different, but like this kind of format is pretty, much the same. Does anybody have any questions about Moodle? Okay. So the next thing that we're going to look at is just up here, the academic calendar. So anything like relating to like if we're closed for a holiday, that'll be here. Like drop dates, like the deadline for you to drop the class, like the first day of class will all be listed on this calendar. So this is important to look at if you're, wondering, different dates for different things. But that was just up here, like at the top, where it says academic calendar. And then for student services, this tab right here, these are kind of like all the services that you have like access to as a student. But we're going to click on academic support. So that's also where you can find the tutoring page and kind of book a time to come, or do it online. So that's there for you under student services as well. Let's let's see, you don't need the bookstore. Let's look at technology support. Give it a load. So technology support, if you have any issues with logging in to Moodle, if Moodle crashes or you forget your password, need to reset your password, anything like that, technology is who you need to contact. You can come to me or Nina, but we're just going to send you here anyway, or call them for you. But this is who you should contact with any technology-related issues. But yes, and then that can also be found under Contact Us. So on the right, we have the departments. So technology is down there as well. If you need to talk to, I don't know, admissions or anything like that, the tutoring center, the ARC, all of those are listed here under Contact Us. And then also we have our directory. So if you need to email your instructor, that can be found, like their email can be found like in Moodle, but also you can just look up their last name, first name, and find, you know, their phone number and email address so that you know how to contact them. Any questions about any of that? Do you have anything to add? Okay, and then the last thing that we're going to do is look at eTrief Central. So just click on My RCC again, and then under Students, it'll say eTrief Central/SoftDocs. And I think it might make you type in your RCC email again, but it won't make you do the password. So just type that in real quick. All right, so once you're there, if you click on Forms on the left, any form, like the withdrawal form, or we're also going to do the FERPA form, can be found here. So you can search it or you can scroll down. I'm just going to type it. But like, let's say that you want to drop your class, like you're in psychology and you're like, I'm not going to be able to make it work, and you need to drop it. Ms. Capel probably said this, but you do need to talk to your high school counselor first. You have to get their permission before you drop it. And then after you get their permission, you can do this form. You can come to me or Nina and we can help you do the form, but it's pretty easy. So it's the add drop withdrawal form, and you would just fill this out. So you'd put like fall 2025, your pathway that you're on. I think there's one that's just, you know, like college transfer, but you would put your program of study. I want to drop or withdraw classes. You'd put the class, and you need to pay attention to the section number. So that was on Moodle, like it has the section number. It's also on the syllabus, because they need to know what section you're in, so you can't just put any class. But like, I want to drop art, you would put a reason, whatever reason you had, check this box, and then submit it. And then it goes to Ms. Capel. She makes sure that you have approval to drop it, and then you're dropped from the class. But that's the only form really that you might be needing to use like throughout the semester or at some point in the semester. But also today, we're going to go ahead and have you guys do the FERPA form. And I think Ms. Capel went over that. So if you just want to type FERPA, it is the second one, the consent to release. And this is just giving your parent or guardian, whoever, permission to like see your RCC grades, information, all that. Because without this, your mom can't call and say, hey, like, what is their grade? We can't do that without this form. It's pretty easy, so I would just go ahead and click all records at the top, and that's going to give them access to any of those things that are listed. And then for the name, make sure you put like their like government name, like not like a nickname or anything, like first and last. And then like whatever their relationship is to you. And then once you do all that and then read those statements and accept, you can just click submit down here in the bottom. And I put kind of like what Ms. Devon said, monitor academic progress. That'll be fine to put there if you haven't put anything. Does anybody have any questions about that form or anything else? Any questions about email, Moodle, payments, books, anything like that? Okay.
Because right now you're still in class.
So if you've submitted the form and you don't have any questions, you can go ahead and X out of that, and then whatever tab you have open where you're kind of logged in, you should still have like maybe like your email up. Just click in the top right and sign out. Really make sure you sign out of your account before you leave. Does anybody have any question at all? Anything you can think of? Anything you want cleared up? All right. Just definitely make sure that when classes start, like when you get your schedule, especially like in August when your classes, or September whenever your class starts, that you're checking your email, your RCC one, and I think all of you go to like Moorhead, McMichael, Reedsville, Rockingham, checking those as well, because if I needed to get in contact with you or Ms. Devon needed to get in contact with you, we'll probably just email you on your like high school email because it's easier. But definitely check your emails, do the REA on the first day or at least the first 3 days, read your syllabus, everything like that. And if you have any questions, like don't hesitate to contact me or anybody. You can just call RCC and they'll get you to somebody. But I mean, I think that's it. So I think you guys are good to go.